Let's wait for 2 more minutes and then let's start.
In meantime, can you share your screen with other assignments and can you go over? I think Suchit is everything. Yeah, you can share your screen and go over this assignment.
The assignments of the Saran and Suchin?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just share. Suchin, this is document of Suchin. So, Suchit, can you give me an example of reference field? What is a reference field? Suchit?
I think
Suchit?
Suchit is in.
Yeah.
Suchit.
Suchit, are you there? Okay. Hi, Nishit. Good morning.
Okay, you can go over Sharon's assignment in that case.
Okay.
Sharon.
So, it is not of study. So, Saran, can you explain me what exactly is an application and module in our service now?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, man, able to hear me.
Yes, yes. You're audible.
Yeah, the same thing which we wrote, like it's a collection of modules, and modules are individual pieces of functionalities. You can see the example here.
So, yeah,
Gmail.
this is an example for the Google one. So, in our service now, if we come, so incident is an application. Create, new,
Okay.
assign to me, these are called as modules. Again,
Okay.
if you see the problem,
Okay.
problem is an application, and in that, these are called as modules.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and next. So here, what is the major difference between incident and problem?
Incident is an single request from individual person, and problem is something like when couple of incidents and there is in one solution for that. We can club those incident and we can make it as a problem.
So
So it,
basically, incident comes with a known solution, wherein problem comes with an unknown solution where we have to find the root cause of that and then make fix that particular root cause. Once if we find that, we have to fix that.
so
So this is how.
clubbing some incidents which have the same solution is also comes under problem, right?
Yeah, but before that, we have to mention which is our known solution or the unknown solution or the disruption,
Okay.
which is
Okay.
very important.
Okay.
Need more details about slide.
And regarding these versions also, like when I have gone to the ServiceNow website, so we have, I mean, like apart from this, we have other versions as well, right?
Yes, yes. It starts from the season names. It started
Mm-hmm.
from season names. In the 2003, Fred Luddy has given us the season names. After 7 seasons, he started the alphabetical order.
Okay.
So now we are in the Washington. So
Okay.
after WXYZ, and then they'll again go with the other format.
So if someone asks about the versions in ServiceNow, so if you mention these three, it would be fine, or else do we need to
Yeah,
mention
because
any other?
these are fine because latest versions are this.
Okay.
Utah, Vancouver, and Washington.
Okay.
Here it's the same. In the database details, it's the same stats.do. So where if I just type stats.do, here itself I'll be getting the database details as well.
Okay, database latency.
Yeah, because database view is other thing which
Okay.
we'll be seeing in further.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
And then yeah, I have shared you what is service offering. So assignment group is where it says suppose we are selecting the category as hardware.
Okay.
So it will be this particular incident will be resolved by that particular group, the hardware group. So that issue or the incident will be assigned to that group, and from that group, any person, any user will be looking into that. So that comes here the assigned to. In that particular group, who is the particular user who will be working on that particular incident.
Okay. Okay.
And so the outages and
Yeah,
attached
test knowledge.
knowledge.
Yeah, mentioned.
And then so
And
SysID.
so ideally, the primary key will be numeric value, and so how we need to identify URL.
Yeah, I'll just show you in the further. Today we'll be having that. So in that particular class, I'll show where actually the SysID will be, and how many characters do we have in particular SysID, how we have to actually look into that and all. Today we'll be discussing about this.
So in the URL, do we get the table name as well with the primary key?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. So and then here if we see, so we have covered these particular topics in the first day, and the day 2 we have covered the views in ServiceNow, customizing the form, incident form with details, related tabs, related lists, and the form buttons, difference between the save and submit, reference, up to this particular one we have completed. So let's make it green, and then let's go again into the list page. So there are few things which we have to actually discuss. So up to this particular, in last two sessions, do anyone have any queries or any blockers? Anything? Kirtana, Nishit, Suchit, any queries? Nishit, I didn't receive your assignment as well.
Yeah, I'll send it by today evening. So do we have recordings for daily like daily sessions? Like do we have a
Yeah,
record?
today in the second session I have recorded it. So I'll just create a drive and I'll folder and I'll share that with you all. And today's session will be also recorded.
Yeah, from today there will be recordings. But yeah, mostly it's best to listen the class and answer the questions. So don't rely on the recordings. I know like relying on the recordings is like watching YouTube videos, so you won't understand anything. So that's better to always listen in the class, and you can take notes in the class. And if you have any doubts, try to do research in community, ServiceNow communities. Then you can understand more. So yeah.
So Hari, is it possible to move it the class to LA because like this is conflicting with my office timings because 11
Okay.
a.m. maybe 10 a.m. is also fine if she started 10 a.m.
Like a little bit early in the morning.
Yeah, early in the morning is also fine.
Okay. Yeah, that works. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
works.
works.
Yeah. And next class, we are planning to have it on Sunday. Is it possible for everyone? Sunday morning instead of tomorrow?
Yeah, fine.
Suchit, okay. Nishit, okay. Kirtana, okay.
Okay, fine.
Saren,
Let's do it on Sunday because I think Sunday it will be also missing tomorrow. So let's do it on Sunday. Okay. And yeah, record this session for today. But yeah, moving forward, we can also record. But the good thing is, instead of watching this recording, so better if you can note down the topics in the class. If you have any questions, ask it. If you still have any doubts, better do research in the community to get more knowledge on the topic. Okay, thank you. Yeah, nice. Go ahead.
and I don't see any updates in the daily basis from any one of you. So I don't want this particular thing to be done from next week because uh, this affects you in the further sessions, because it's very important to you all to practice this, because starting it's easy, but in the further classes it will be obviously tough, where you have to let us know where you're stuck somewhere or anything. You have to post the update because it's just a 2 minute thing. So if you don't do that, it really affects your training of this particular service now. So I want you all to post your updates. This is the last reminder because I have posted many reminders in our space, right? So I don't see anyone posting their update or doing their assignments on time. So this is not good for your training. So from next week, this should not happen. Make sure your assignments are done by Thursday end of the day. Okay, so I'll just share my screen. So yeah, we have seen the filters here, and if we see a form, we have created the form views also. So in the same way, we'll be having the list views as well. So if you just see here you have many views. So like that, we can also create a new view. So how can we actually create? So for every column, we are having this particular column options. So in this particular column options, you have configure, where you can go to the list layout and create a new view for your list as well. So here, let's say our new view name is Wipro. So once if we give that, and you can actually priority, and you can add your own fields, due date, let's say, and let's say the order, and so created, we also have created. So like this, we can actually create our own list view. So yeah, 1 minute here. Oh, sorry. So here we have to select our view called Wipro, and here we have to actually select what fields are to be there on the form, and you can remove the fields which you don't want, and if you want these two, you can select these two and push and then save. So in our Wipro, so now here again you can change your view to Wipro. So created by, and we removed the assignment group and assigned to in this particular view. So this is how we create a view for the list. Am I clear? Can anyone respond?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we all know, you all know the difference between the configuration and personalization. So can anyone tell the difference between them?
So personalization will be only to our, it is our view, it only restricts to us, but configuration may affect the other person's view also.
Yes. So here, this is how you will be personalizing your list. So here again, I don't want these particular two, and I'll just push this over here. And if I click, so this is my personalized view. Okay. Here, this is configuration, which everyone can actually view that, and personalization, this is only for my sake. And now let's see, how do we create a user. So what is the main use of creating a user in ServiceNow? So in a company, let's take an example. So in a company, we'll be having the employees. So every employee will have a particular role to be done. So manager, where manager will manage all the employees' data and their responsibilities and all. Coming to the CEO, the highest position, where CEO will be managing all the managers, the team leads who are there, their data and the employees' data and everything they can actually access. But as an employee, we can't access the data of manager, or we can't access the data of CEO. So where our role is being restricted. So every user will have a particular role. In the ServiceNow as well, we'll be having roles and users. So here under user admin, so this is the application called user administration. In this, we'll be having users, groups, and roles. So let's go to each application and let's see how do we create and what are those. So these are the users, 623 users in ServiceNow right now. So if you want to create a new user, so here we have a button called new. Once if we click that, so this is the form where we can actually create a user. So user ID. So every user will have a unique ID. So this is where we call it as user ID. So in the ServiceNow as well, this is the unique one where we'll be giving the name. So let's say manu.admin. This is my name. And Manaswini Osuru. And title is where my job title. So here we'll have different titles, so you can actually give them. So let's say system admin and department. So to which department I actually belong to. So let's say IT. And here if you see password needs reset. So for every user will be having the password. Okay, so if we just check this particular box, when they log in they can actually reset their password. So for now we don't want that, so I'm not checking this particular box. And then logged out is where you can log this particular account. So this is where the guest can't enter into this or like that. So where we when once if we check this particular box, then that particular thing comes into the picture. And then active. So If we check this particular box, this particular user record will be active, means he is actually working in this particular company. If it's inactive, this user is no more in this particular company. Instead of we deleting that, we'll make it active and inactive. And then web service access only and internal integration user, this will be seeing in the integrations topic, where in order to for the APIs and all, we'll be using this two check boxes, then we'll be using that. And coming to the email, you can give any email. So here, let's say this is my email, and I select my language, and calendar integration according to the Outlook, means the my mail according to that it will set, and the time zone. So right now let's take an example of US Arizona. So here the time zone is according to the Arizona, and here my date format, let's say this, or you can actually select any of them. So for now I'm selecting that, and business phone number, let's say and any phone number, and here also you can add a picture. So once if I save this record, I'll be getting the related lists over here. So if you just see here, roles, groups, delegates, subscriptions, these are called as related lists. So as I told you, for every user, they'll be having a role. So again, let's go into the application called user admin, in which we'll have roles. So in ServiceNow we have 477 roles, and uh, every role will do some action. So if you just see here, we have main four roles which are very important. So the first role is admin role. So what does this admin role do? If you see the description, so this is an admin role where admin can access all the system features, functions, and data regardless of any security constraints. Means you can actually go and configure anything in this particular service now. Okay, so we can actually create an incident, problem, change, and you can modify the forms. You can do any type of things in this particular role given. Whenever we have this one, you can do anything in the service now. So we have another role called security underscore admin. Security admin. Let's check. It's if you just see here, this is the role called security underscore admin. So this security underscore admin is a role where they can actually modify the data security constraints, means which is higher than the admin role. So here in admin role, we can create the records, and we can create the modules, applications, and all. But this particular security underscore admin role, what this do is, this gives the access where you can actually create an ACLs, means for this particular user or this particular role only some data should be visible. And if we take another role, and for this particular role only some applications should be visible. So the visibility and the access, how which role should access what application here will be defining in this particular role. Only when we have this role, only then you can actually create the access controls. So this is which is higher than the admin role. Am I clear up to this? Any doubts, any queries? So can anyone say what is the difference between the admin role and the security underscore admin role?
Admin has all the privileges to do something in the instance except defining or editing the ACLs, but security admin has that role too,
Yeah.
like that elevated role.
Yes. And then we have another important role called ITIL and the ITIL admin. So we are talking about the ITSM module. So in ITSM module, what are the main applications which we talk? Can anyone tell? Main applications in ITSM. Anyone? Yeah.
Incident change problem, are these the ones?
Yes, yes. So which all come under the ITSM. So this ITIL and ITIL admin are the roles where they can actually open, update or close the incidents, problem, changes, and they can also have the access only to update them. But coming to the ITIL admin, this particular role is where they can actually delete the records as well. Okay, the main difference between ITIL and ITIL admin is here in ITIL admin they can delete the records, but ITIL they can only create and update the records. They can also close the incidents. Okay, so these are the four main roles which we have in the ServiceNow: admin, security underscore admin, ITIL, and ITIL admin.
So where we are defining these roles?
So yeah, here we have an user. So for this particular user, when you go to the roles, if you click on edit, these are all the roles which we have. So as we discuss, so ITIL is a role which you can actually give. So once if you give this particular role to a user, they can create a incident. So let's see that as well. So here we have generate a password. So once if I click generate, I'll be getting this. So I'll just copy and paste in a notepad. So this is my password. Now let's log in as this. So here you can actually change as login dot do. So let's say let's paste the current password. Okay, that particular checkbox which was there was set. So once if I log in as that particular user, and if I see here, I'll be getting access where I can create a incident. So I can create a new incident. I can have an access to view all of them, and even I can create the problem. I can create the change. So in the same way, if I just go and if I log in as an admin and remove that particular access, and for our instance we'll be getting password over here. If I go to my user record which I've created previously, and remove this role, edit and remove this role and save. And then here I'm as Manaswini Kosuru. Again, let's refresh this. And now if you see, if we type incident, so we don't have an access for this because, oh, refresh. So we should not see this, but I don't know.
Maybe we need to log out and log in. Sometimes when we change the rules.
Incident. So I should not actually see. So let's see why. Save this and then refresh over here. I don't know why it's visible. Okay, let's do one thing. So I'll just show how to impersonate as a user. So what is impersonation is, in order to check. So right now we are facing an issue by logging in and checking. So where you have to store their username and password. Instead of that, as an admin, we have an option called impersonate user. So as that particular user, so our user is Manaswini Kosuru, right? So let's just impersonate. So impersonate is pretending to be that particular user. So if I go here and check for incident, so if you just see here, he's not having the access to create an incident, or there is no application which is actually visible to her. And if you just see problem, so you don't have the access to create. So this is where we'll be using the impersonation, pretending to be that particular user and checking how that particular access is working to them. Okay, so again you can impersonate another user. So again, if you click on end impersonation, you'll be as a system admin again. So this is how we actually check that particular user roles and all. So if I again give the ITIL role and save. So with this ITIL role, we'll be getting many roles, like 41 roles with that. So where incident, right, workspace, user, as I told you, ITIL is a single role, but where they can create incidents, they can update incidents and problem, change, anything which is related to the ITSM. So again, if I go and impersonate as Manaswini Kosuru and check that, so here, if you see, incident application is visible and problem application is visible and change application is visible. So this is how we give roles to the users, which is very
Manu, can you explain again that impersonate user? How it
yeah.
works?
So for every system admin, we'll be having uh, this link called impersonate user. Once if I click, and here I can select the user as which user I should log in. So instead of we entering the username and password, we can actually directly impersonate that particular user. So once if I click on impersonate, we'll be impersonating as that user, and we can check what modules are visible to them and the role which we gave is correct or not, the access and all we can check. Completing,
So
we can
this is
click
a
end.
secure. I mean, like this one is a security user.
No. No, this is just a normal one.
No.
Yeah. For admin only, we'll be having that particular here. Here, if you see on my profile, if I click, I'll be getting a impersonate user the link. Then I can do. So this is how we actually impersonate an user instead of we logging in. And then we have groups. So in ServiceNow, we have many groups. So under system admin application, you see groups. So if we go here, we have 46 groups. So let's check, let's take an example of hardware group. So this is a hardware group where this particular group is responsible for all the hardware requests, including installations and repairs. So here, if you see the group members, again members are where these are from the user table. If you just click on edit, you can actually add number of any member into this particular group. So as of now we have 7 users, and if you want to add any user, let's say Able Tutor and Abraham Lincoln, and then save, we'll be getting the users. So now I'll ask you a quick question. So here also we have roles, and we also have a module called roles over here. So where you can actually go and click the users. So suppose if I just say here I have users and these are all the users. If I want to give a role to a user, I can go here and give a role. So what is the best practice? So here going to every user and giving a role, or at a time for a group, here we have roles, right? So if I just click edit and give a role, so that would also work well. So what is the easy way to us to give a role to a particular user or particular group? So can anyone guess?
Uh, Assigning the role to a group.
So the best practice is assigning a role to a group. Right, Kirtana. So, if you just see here, we have 9 members. Instead of going into every user record and adding a role, we can actually give a role directly over here. Let's say, let's give ITIL role to a group. If I save, so this particular ITIL role will be
so every user will have this particular role called ITIL. So we have added this role to the group. So let's check. Abraham Lincoln is a member of that particular group. Now in the roles, if you see, we have 41 roles and ITIL is one of the role in that. So this is the way where you can actually give a role to the users. So if you have 2 or 3 members and you have to assign a role, so the best practice is create a group. So how do you actually create a group? So here you have new, you can click on new, let's say partnership management is a group, and then here I can write the description as this is a group for an application called ship management. So I can save. Once if I save, I can give the roles and I can add the users to this particular group. So the best practice is to create a group, add the users to the group and assign a role to them, instead of we going to every user and assigning a role. And you can create a new user from here as well. So in the group members, you have an option called edit, where you'll be adding the existing members, and new is where you create a new user and add him there. So these are the two ways of creating users. So up to this, is it clear? Is it clear?
Yeah, give a hands up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
No,
So
this
I want
yeah.
you all to create a user with no role, the first task, and then so I'll post this in group so that it will be easy, where you can actually go back and check as well. So here I'll write tasks, and where I'll write this, create a user with no role is the first task, and second, create a user with ITIL role and first name. To create an incident. And then so here we have 5 tasks. So first, where you have to create a user with no role, and then create another user with ITIL role, and then impersonate as that particular user and check whether he is able to create an incident and submit an incident over there. And then create a group and assign a role and add 5 members into that particular group. Again, go and create an incident, and in the assignment group you have to select the group which you created. this task is for 15 minutes. You can have a break of, let's have a break for 10 minutes, and then you can complete this task for 15 minutes. And if you're stuck somewhere, let me know. I'll just share my screen on the timer.
Yeah, Kirtana, you can share your screen if it's done.
Okay, I'll be sharing my screen. So first I created a user and there is no role assigned. So the user is not able to see any incidents here.
Okay.
And I added title role to the user and I impersonated the user and the user is able to create new incidents, open the incidents and all incidents. And then I created a group which is technical team and I added 5 of the users in that group and assigned ITIL role for that. And I opened a new incident and assignment group is a technical team which the group which I have created and assigned to is a user which I have created and
Oh,
the
good.
user is a member of that group.
Yeah, thanks, Kirtana. Nice.
Yeah, okay.
Let me know if it's done, Saran and Nishit. Nishit, it's not about the document. If this particular task.
Yeah, so but this particular time I have another office work as well, so that's why it's conflicting for me.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
why I'm not able to do it.
Okay.
You can go ahead, Mana. So we'll share the assignment, these 5 assignments.
Okay, sure. So I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Yeah. So let's continue the session. So now we have completed the user and this, and we have also seen the filters in service now, the condition builders in service now in the last session only. So let's see how do we actually change the logo and background in the service now. So here under the application navigator, search for UI. So UI configurations. Under the so we have an application called system configuration. Oh, sorry, I missed this. I should include user. Yeah, this is my admin profile. So previously we were checking in the other profile. So UI configure yeah. So if you just see here basic configuration UI 16.
So under the system properties, we have a module called basic configuration UI 16, where you can actually change the logo of this ServiceNow instance, because every company will have their own instance where we have to change their profile over here, means the image of that particular company. We have to keep their company's image. So where do we actually change this? Here. So here if we click, let's download image, cloud image. So let's take an example of cloud company and save this image. So I'm saving in the downloads. And then if I add over here in the downloads, oh, it's a Chrome type, so let's take any other image, because it should be actually a image type so that you can add that. So this is a image. So once if we save this and reload the form, so this is where you'll be changing your image, and then you can change your page header caption as well, like cloud dimensions, and then save. So here you can add the date and time format, and here if you just see, these all colors come under the theme called La Hula. So where this is again, we will be seeing this in the service portal. So in the further classes where we have to actually create a theme and then add a theme over here. So right now we only have the La Hula and this other Cobalt as a themes. So where you can keep, because these all colors come under this particular theme only. So this is where we actually change the colors and themes for the instance. So if I just refresh the form, and then if you see, when I hover, I'll be getting the page header as cloud dimensions, and you can change this name as well, the browser tab title as well. So and then, so this is where we have seen the logo and background. Now we are moving into the main part of the service now, where you have to actually find how to find the table name and what are the fields and all. So if I just open this, so this is my list view of a incident application. So if you just see here, incident underscore list dot do. So from where we actually get this. So let's go into a record. If you see again, incident dot do and the sys ID of this particular record. So in the link, you can find your table name, the incident, and the sys of your record. So this is the sys of our record. And if you just see here, we can actually find the view name as well. So syspalm underscore view, where Wipro is our current view. And the other way to find the table name is, so when you click the context menu, under configure, we have an option called table. So once if we open this particular option, so this is our label, the display value, and name is the backend name. This incident is extending a table called task. So what is extending a table? Can anyone tell the extending of table, the parent table, the child table? We have many types of tables, right? So do anyone know about that? Yeah. Kirtana, Nishit, Saran.
So the child table contains many of the column labels and types, and all these this gets inherited from the parent, and there can be additional fields also,
So yeah,
and many of them are
correct.
inherited from task table.
Yeah, correct. So here task is the parent table for all the ITSM modules like the incident, problem, change. So those are all the applications which were extended from the task table. So here we have a few fields, and these fields, instead of we going and creating again the same fields, so this incident, problem, change inherit that particular table. And according to so suppose I say incident application, so instead of we having all these, so we also add some extra features for this. So incident where you can add different columns, so by clicking new you can actually create again a new column, means a field over here. So where again you'll be specifying the type, let's say string, and again the column label, let's say workspace name for example, and the column name is where the backend name which gets auto populated. As its string, we can give the maximum length, and here the function field. So excuse me. So what is function field is, it's where you actually define the script. So in order to manipulate the data, once if you check this particular box, then you can add your script for this particular field. Excuse me. And then we have read only, mandatory, and display. And if it's other type, you can specify the choice and all. Once if I save the record, excuse me. So again under the incident table, you can see our newly created field as well. So workspace name, this is the field which we created. And then in the same way we can find for the user table as well. So let's say users. So this is the list view of the users. If you just see here, sys underscore user underscore list dot do, means sys underscore user is the backend name of the user table. So for again, if you want to find the more details about the table, here you can click the context menu, configure table. So here if you see, the user table is not extending the other table. So this is itself a application. Okay, so user table will not extend any table, because here we have all the user records and the columns related to the user, and we also have many tables. So what I want you all to do is try to find the table names of user table, incident, problem, change, and department, location, and so yeah. So these so I want the backend names of these tables. So can you can actually start, and uh, you can post the answers in this group only. So you know how to actually go and check now. So check these and post in this particular group. In the space you can post.
Is it done? Are you finding the applications? Yeah, good, Kirtana. Yes.
Do we need to post it again or else we'll find
Again. Can you share your screen?
it?
Yeah, share and show me the name of the department, the backend name.
So we go to just a second.
Yeah, go.
So if we search with the Lego name, so we will get the details here, so we can.
Yeah, this is the other way also. So yeah, search for department. So whenever we search, try to use the star before that, so that it would be easy to use. Contains, it means contains. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah. And
Excuse me, could you
yeah.
allow Alekia to the meet?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
She wants to join the training as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Ask her. Put her email ID here. We'll add her into the group.
Space. Yeah.
Okay. I shared the meet link and I'll add her mail also.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Now let's wait for her.
Yeah, you can continue.
I think like she's waiting and asked me to allow her.
Actually, I don't see anyone waiting
Yeah, even I don't
here.
see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can continue and you can share her the first week's assignment document. Yeah, and she can continue from the second week's class.
And then we have seen the types of columns and how do we actually create a column and the creating the choice list values as well. So today let's see the another important topic called reports in ServiceNow. How do we actually create reports?
Like, can you give an example for extended table?
Okay, extended table example.
Yeah.
So yeah, incident is the table. So here, if you see, yeah, someone is. If you go here, here you have a table, extends table, and then if you open the record, this is the main table, task. So this is the incident, the child table, and this is the parent table, where incident was extended from the task table. It inherited all these columns and the extra columns where you can actually create here. Is that clear?
So under the task only we will have the incident tagline.
Yes.
So task is the main root parent, root table.
Yeah. You're right. So in the application navigator, if we write reports, so we have an application called reports where you can view, run the reports and create the new reports as well. So let's just see. So why do we actually create reports? So in our real time, what reports we see? So can anyone tell? So what is the main use of a report? And why do we actually create them?
For planning. To analyze the gaps.
Yes. And so if we just see here, let's take an example. Yeah.
So this is an let's see this example. Let's open any. Yeah, let's open this. The pre-report.
It's not related to this. So, like, do we have any database in the backend, so where we can see the tables and all that, or else we can see everything here only?
No, we can see everything here only. So if we have an application called tables under system definition. So under system definition, yeah, so if you see under system definition, we have tables. So this is the data